Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, welcome to the module on screening under the specific learning disabilities. Screening is the very first step that we tend to do to identify a child who has difficulties in learning. I am Jayanti Narayan. I am special educator for children particularly having difficulties in learning and also intellectual difficulties. Namaskar. Now, let us look at screening. First, let us understand what is screening. We generally tend to use the term screening, assessment, evaluation, measurement, testing all interchangeably. They do have differences. The terms are not all meaning the same thing. So, let us look at the differences. Screening, when you say, generally we tend to screen children when we suspect a problem in them. The key word here happens to be suspecting a problem in that child. In any even if it is a disease, let us say the child is feeling warm, you suspect fever, you put a thermometer to confirm the temperature has risen. Similarly, screening helps suspecting a condition, and therefore, we take further efforts to confirm or negate the condition that we are looking for. Especially when it comes to learning problems in classroom, teacher is the right person to identify the child and suspect a problem. Why is it so? Because teacher is the one person who is able to see a child in a group of 30 to 40 children, and she knows what is a norm and what is outside the norm. May it be a behavior, may it be a classroom performance in the lessons, may it be anything, it hits her eyes first. Not so much with the parent even, I would say, because parent sees only his child. There is no norms and comparison that hits their eyes like it would do to a teacher. Therefore, a teacher is the right person, particularly in regular schools. I am not talking about special schools right now, because in the regular school the children who are all there are supposed to be those with the average norms of learning that they are going through, and the way they learn. Of course, there are ups and downs, but within a certain limit we call them children with average abilities or average or above average abilities going to pass the examination that is set for, and any child who is not falling in that norm, the teacher immediately is able to make out that this child is different. Up to that she is able to say. She can go a step beyond to say what can be the problem in this child when she tends to come up with the screening. So, let us say assessment. What do you understand by assessment here? Assessment is one step after screening, after shortlisting the child, considering the child is likely to have a problem. Let us find out what is the problem the child is facing. You put him through a battery of tests. Before that, you gather information from the parents about the child. Maybe if there are past medical records, you ask for the records, secondary sources of information as you call it. Earlier some tests have been done for the child, you tend to ask for it, and then you direct the child to a person trained for assessment. You, the teacher, have screened out the child. Just like earlier example we took, that you have a fever, putting the thermometer in the mouth to see whether the child does have a fever. Up to that the mother does it at home. Then what does she do? Take the child to the doctor who is qualified to find out what exactly is the problem with the child. Similarly, here after asking the parents about the problem, the screened information that you have found out as a suspicion, you collect a little more information and then you refer the child for detailed assessment. So, the detailed assessment person is a qualified person to do the assessment, and then lets you know whether the child does have a problem in learning or he does not have a problem, but it could be some other reason because of which he is not doing well in classroom. So, this involves the key word as you see here is gathering information from varied sources, and there are direct testing, and ultimately it can confirm or negate a diagnosis, right. This is, as I told you earlier, done by a qualified team of persons. Now, this is assessment. So, screening is the initial suspicion and identifying the child. Assessment is where the condition gets confirmed or negated. Look at this table now. What do you find here? So, screening says that the teacher is suspecting a problem. As you have sent the child for assessment, and the assessment also says the child has SLD. So, specific learning disability, short form is SLD. So, right here you find that the child does have SLD. Another situation where the screening the teacher suspects this child is not doing so well, maybe he can have SLD, let us send him for detailed assessment. Assessment does show that detailed assessment shows that he is not having SLD. So, even though sometimes screening can be making you suspect, the learning problem in the child can be due to some other reason and not necessarily because of SLD. When the SLD test shows that he is not having, maybe other factors can be responsible, but not because of specific learning disability. Your screening itself shows you do not suspect any problem in the child, and then the assessment result shows there is SLD, there are possibilities, there are occasions when you think no, he will be okay, now he is doing like this. When he does sit in this condition, he is doing very well. When he is doing it with a group of children, he is playful, that is why he is not doing well. No, he does not have SLD. You are likely to say that. But however, the parents or somebody else insist on a detailed test, well, you can find that he does have the problem. It is a possibility, right. So, the assessment confirms. Screening only helps to the extent of suspecting. Screening also does not suspect. Assessment also does not show. So, screening and assessment can match, there is no SLD. This is very important for us to remember. All the screened children need not necessarily be having specific learning disabilities. Assessment helps in confirming, and assessment is the right one. Ultimately what it brings about, that is the right condition of the child. Now, there are a few more terms that we need to know when we work with children with certain deviations in their learning. So, another one that you would usually find is the term evaluation. So, evaluation refers to comparing the child's set of data to a standard for the purposes of judging its worth or quality. Now, you may collect data about the child from the parents, from the assessment teams, from your own classroom teachers' performances. You collect all of them to see how they all come together to make meaning to you. Another thing about assessment that is very important for you is that assessment helps to see whether the child has shown progress after intervention. Take this example. You have found this child who has been sitting in class 3, and when you did an initial assessment for the child, his language learning has been somewhere around alphabets and basic numbers, say class 1 level first term, and that is the assessment report you have in your hand, and you have made a program for him and you have been teaching him, you have been teaching him, you have been teaching him using the right method. After a period of time, you reassess the child, and then the report shows this is arithmetic and his reading writing levels are currently showing you functioning at the second term level of class 1 or into the third term level of class 1. So, the difference between the initial assessment and the current one that you have done, method of doing is assessment, but you will call the second one as an evaluation, because by definition evaluation helps to find the efficacy of instruction. So, when you do it the second time, you are evaluating the same child for the criteria that you have set for him to achieve, and you see from here how much he has come towards the criteria you have set for him to achieve. So, this is evaluation. At this point when you do it, it is evaluation. Now, you are coming up with, and it is as you generally do a quarterly examination, annual examination. Quarterly generally tend to be a quarterly, half yearly, class test, slip test, they are all formative evaluation. So, as the child is learning, you keep checking for progress. If you want to reach a destination, you are in your car, you keep checking the milestones to see are you in the right direction. Whenever fork roads come, you look at the signboard to see which fork road you are expected to take. So, all these little formative evaluation are the milestones that is telling you whether you are going in the right direction or not. Are you with me up to this? Okay. The next one here is the summative evaluation that you are doing at the term end or the year end to see this child who is sitting in class 3 level functioning at class 1 level, has he completed the class 1 level of learning and can he move to the next level. End of the year you make a decision. So, there you make a summative evaluation. So, what you are seeing here, evaluation is a continuous process which compares the child's earlier performance to the current performance, thus telling you the efficacy of your teaching. If it is not progressing, you get the amber light, you get the alarm, where am I going wrong, why is he not progressing? Always look at it this way, why is he not doing, what is he doing wrong is not what we should be looking at. Where am I going wrong because of which he is not progressing? This is very important thinking that every teacher must have. Then only we will be able to take every child's challenge as a learning experience for ourselves. This is very important. For most difficult child is the best teacher to you, yeah, while teaching. So, this helps, the evaluation helps us in finding out the process in which the child is progressing or not doing so well. Therefore, where is the process change that I have to bring about so that the child is going to do better. Now, here is this term measurement. What is the term measurement? Measurement always gives a value or a number. Every time when you say I have a temperature of 98.4, that tells you that you have average temperature, 101. So, that number tells you how much is the fever or how intense is the fever, how worrisome is the fever. So, the number becomes very important for us. Similarly, the child who has been scoring a 20%, now similar test paper he is scoring a 45%, you know there is a progress in him. So, measurement always are quantifying the data, he is better than before, he is just the same, he is maintaining the same, does not tell us much. But when it says he was getting an aggregate of 40%, now he is getting an aggregate of 65%, tells a lot. So, for that measurement becomes a very important component of our total assessment and evaluation. Now, lastly here is the term testing. To do your screening, to do your assessment, to do your evaluation, to do your measurement, for all of that the process that you are following is testing, different ways of testing. So, all of those little things that you do are called the tests we commonly use. So, I think now you are very clear, we use these terms interchangeably, but I think now you are clear that these terms do have subtle differences among them, and we the teachers constantly use the testing and arriving at the measurement, and we the teachers always use the evaluations and assessment and screening to find out a child who is slightly deviated from the norms of your classroom, to find out what exactly is working in him because of which he is not doing so well. You are likely to do the screening. I think you are with me up to this, and if you are comfortable with that, we will go on to the next segment of why we have to screen and who are the right persons to screen. So, just look back once to look at the differences between screening, assessment, evaluation, testing and measurement. Let's take a break.